History Holes.
Episode 2, The Hùng Kings and Văn Lang, Birth of a Nation. Welcome back to History Holes, where we explore parts of history often hidden from the West. In our last episode, we journeyed into the deepest past, exploring the primordial myths that forged Vietnam's very soul. The cosmic union of Lac Long Quân and O Cơ, the colossal architect Tân Trụ Trời, and the eternal clash of Sun Tin and Tui Tin. We discovered that these aren't just quaint folktales, but living narratives, shaping a people's identity, their profound connection to the land, and their unyielding spirit. Tonight we take a momentous step. We move from the realm of pure legend to the earliest whispers of verifiable history. We'll explore the legendary Hùng dynasty and the Văn Lang kingdom, a period traditionally dated from around 2879 BCE to 258 BCE. This era, while still shrouded in the mists of time, represents the crucial bridge between Vietnam's mythical origins and the dawn of its organized statehood. It's here, in the fertile embrace of the Red River Delta, that the descendants of the dragon and the immortal began to coalesce, to organize, and to lay the groundwork for a civilization that would endure for millennia. We'll delve into the fascinating blend of oral tradition, later chronicles, and modern archaeology that helps us piece together this foundational chapter of Vietnamese identity. Prepare to journey to a time when Vietnam was just taking its first, confident steps onto the stage of history. Chapter 1, The Hùng Dynasty, a lineage forged in legend. Our narrative of the Hùng Kings picks up directly from the compelling conclusion of the Lac Long Quân and O Cơ myth. According to the legend, the 100 sons, miraculously born from a sack of eggs, spread across the land, populating its diverse landscapes. And among them, the eldest, Hùng Vương, is traditionally said to have established himself as the first ruler, laying the foundation for what would become the very first Vietnamese state. This singular act is said to mark the beginning of the Hùng dynasty, a lineage encompassing an astonishing 18 Hùng Kings, who are believed to have reigned over the nascent kingdom of Văn Lang for an almost unbelievable period of over 2.5 millennia. Now, for modern historical researchers, when we encounter such a timeline, over 2,600 years with only 18 kings, an immediate sense of intrigue arises. This extraordinary longevity, averaging more than 140 years per monarch, strongly suggests that we are not dealing with a purely literal, chronological historical record in the empirical sense that we might expect from later, more thoroughly documented periods. The accounts of the Hùng dynasty, as they have come down to us, are primarily found in much later Vietnamese chronicles, such as the seminal 15th century Dai Viet Su Ki Tuan Thu, complete historical records of Dai Viet, and the more folkloric 18th century Linh Nam Chich Quai, selected tales of Linh Nam. These texts were compiled centuries, sometimes even over a millennium, after the supposed events. Their purpose was often not just to record facts, but to fulfill a deeper cultural and political role. These chronicles served as instruments of nation-building, designed to legitimize ruling dynasties, to create a profound sense of shared ancestry among diverse groups, and crucially, to assert a distinct and ancient independent origin story for Vietnam, one that stood proudly apart from the dominant narratives emanating from its powerful northern neighbor, China. In this context, the Hùng period, while perhaps not a continuous, perfectly linear succession of individual rulers as meticulously recorded, certainly represents a profound cultural truth about the Vietnamese people's perception of themselves as ancient, self-formed, and innately sovereign. It encapsulates the long organic process of early state formation and the gradual coalescing of distinct Vietnamese identity. Yet, to simply dismiss the Hùng Kings as mere fiction, as a quaint but irrelevant legend, would be a profound misjudgment of their enduring power and significance. For the Vietnamese people, the Hùng Kings are far more than legendary figures. They are revered ancestors. Their legendary rule symbolizes the very genesis of their nation, the foundational moment when scattered Proto-Vietnamese tribes and communities began to unite under a common banner, establishing a distinct identity that would empower them to resist external influences for millennia to come. The most compelling and vibrant testament to this enduring belief is the annual Giotto Hùng Vương, or the Hùng King Temple Festival, a deeply significant national holiday celebrated with profound reverence on the 10th day of the third lunar month. Every year, millions of Vietnamese, from all walks of life, from across the nation and even from the global diaspora, undertake a spiritual pilgrimage to the sacred Hùng Kings temple complex in Phu Thọ province. This is not merely a public holiday, it is a profound sacred ritual, a collective act of remembrance and veneration that powerfully reinforces a deep sense of shared lineage and unwavering national unity. It transcends social status, political affiliation, or regional differences, uniting the entire nation through a common origin story. It is a powerful, living connection to their deepest roots, demonstrating vividly how history, even when steeped in legend, can be a vibrant, active force shaping identity and cohesion in the present day. This collective journey to the ancestral homeland reinforces an unbroken chain of connection, a reminder that every Vietnamese person is a descendant of the dragon and the immortal. Therefore, as we continue our exploration, we approach the Hùng Kings and Văn Lang not as a perfectly detailed historical account that can be verified in every particular, but as a crucial proto-state, a foundational era where the essential elements of a unified society, rudimentary forms of governance, and a distinct cultural identity began to solidify. This period, shrouded in the mists of time but vividly alive in collective memory, left behind an indelible legacy that continues to shape modern Vietnam. This narrative bridges the gap between the mythic past and the archaeologically discernible future, creating a powerful sense of continuity that is absolutely vital to Vietnamese self-understanding and national identity. Chapter 2, Văn Lang, Life in the Cradle of Civilization. The legendary kingdom of Văn Lang is traditionally understood to have been centered within the expansive and incredibly fertile Red River Delta, a vast alluvial plain that stretches across what is now modern-day northern Vietnam. This strategic and geographically blessed region, nourished by the annual deposits of rich, life-giving silt from the mighty Red River, was uniquely suited for the cultivation of wet rice, a revolutionary agricultural practice that would not only sustain large populations but also become the very backbone and defining characteristic of Vietnamese civilization. Wet rice cultivation in the Red River Delta was far more than a simple act of farming. It was a sophisticated and demanding system of hydrological engineering. The early Vietnamese communities, often referred to as the Lac Viet people, faced the formidable and often unpredictable forces of nature. The Red River, while providing essential nutrients, was also prone to devastating annual floods during the monsoon season. To survive and thrive, these communities had to engage in immense collective efforts. They meticulously built elaborate systems of dikes to contain the river's fury and protect their precious rice fields. They dug intricate networks of canals to channel water for irrigation, ensuring consistent hydration for their crops. And they had to meticulously plan and coordinate their planting and harvesting cycles, often requiring precise timing and communal labor. This wasn't work that could be done by isolated individuals or small families. It demanded immense communal effort, profound cooperation, and a high degree of social organization. This shared endeavor, driven by the very land itself and the imperative for survival, undoubtedly fostered a strong sense of unity and shared purpose among these early communities. The well-being, indeed the very survival, of the entire village, and eventually the entire kingdom, depended on their collective ability to harness and control the unpredictable power of water. This struggle against nature would become a defining motif in Vietnamese history, as we saw in the myth of Son Tin and Thuy Tin, a myth, remember, that captures this very core challenge and response. The social structure of Văn Lang, while still rudimentary when compared to the highly centralized empires of later periods, was demonstrably organized and functional. At its apex was the Hùng King, who held a dual role as both the supreme spiritual leader and the temporal ruler. He was the head of the royal family, but also the chief priest, responsible for maintaining harmony with the natural world and the spiritual realm, conducting rituals to ensure bountiful harvests and protection from floods. Beneath the Hùng King operated various officials, primarily referred to as Lac Ho, often interpreted as civil officials or administrators, and Lac Tuong, typically understood as military commanders or regional tribal chiefs. These individuals were likely influential tribal leaders or local chieftains who pledged allegiance to the Hùng King, forming a loose but effective network across the kingdom. This structure, decentralized yet fundamentally cohesive, allowed for the effective governance of a population spread across the expansive delta, enabling the coordination of large-scale public works projects like dike building, the resolution of inter-community disputes, and the crucial defense of their nascent territory. The very existence of these distinct roles, a king, civil administrators, military leaders, strongly suggests a significant and ongoing transition from purely tribal or clan-based societies to a more organized, nascent state-level entity. It implies a growing degree of specialization, hierarchy, and a developing system capable of mobilizing labor, managing resources, and maintaining social order over an increasingly wider geographic area. This, then, was the earliest discernible form of Vietnamese statehood, a foundational model that would evolve and consolidate over subsequent centuries. Beyond these administrative structures, the social fabric of Văn Lang was woven with deeply ingrained customs. While direct records are scarce, later chronicles and archaeological findings suggest a society where community bonds were paramount and where women likely held a respected and influential position, a theme we explored with Oke in our last episode, and one that will resurface prominently with the Trung sisters later in our series. Evidence from burial sites indicates relative social equality in earlier phases, though signs of emerging social stratification gradually appear. The communal ownership or management of land necessitated by wet rice cultivation would have also shaped a society where collective well-being was prioritized. Chapter 3: Echoes in Material Culture. What Archaeology Reveals. While the literary accounts of the Hùng Kings and Văn Lang, as we've discussed, are later interpretations and codifications of an oral tradition, the earth itself serves as an invaluable archive, holding tangible clues to Vietnam's proto-history. Archaeological discoveries, particularly those associated with the magnificent Dong Son culture, offer compelling and undeniable proof of sophisticated indigenous cultural developments flourishing in the region traditionally attributed to Văn Lang. While the Dong Son culture reached its zenith and spread most widely between approximately 1000 BCE and the 1st century CE, its foundational roots and early developmental phases extend back directly into the period traditionally associated with the Hùng Kings, providing a crucial material bridge between legend and documented antiquity. The mastery of bronze metallurgy stands out as perhaps the most astonishing and defining achievement of these early Vietnamese cultures. The Dong Son drums in particular are not just artifacts. They are masterpieces of ancient engineering and artistry, and profound historical documents. These large, meticulously crafted, and intricately decorated bronze drums were far more than mere musical instruments. They served as powerful ceremonial objects, symbols of immense status and political power for chieftains and rulers. They were used in rituals to invoke rain, celebrate harvests, accompany funerals, and signal calls to war. More profoundly, their surfaces are veritable canvases, adorned with intricate patterns that depict the daily life, rituals, beliefs, and social structures of the people who created them. We see scenes of wet rice farming, communal activities, people wearing elaborate feather costumes, boats with warriors, and even images of what appear to be longhouses. This isn't just ancient art, it's a social history, a cultural blueprint, intricately etched in bronze, offering us an irreplaceable window into the beliefs, social organization, and technological prowess of the people living in the Red River Delta during this crucial formative period. The sheer scale, the technical precision required for casting such large and complex objects, and the artistic sophistication of these drums all indicate a society with highly specialized artisans, sophisticated knowledge of metallurgy, organized access to raw materials, including tin and copper, and a level of social and political organization capable of supporting such complex and labor-intensive production. Critically, the distinctiveness of Dong Son bronze work is paramount. While there was undoubtedly some level of interaction and exchange with neighboring cultures, particularly the emerging states to the north in what is now China, the style, motifs, and casting techniques employed in Dong Son artifacts are uniquely Vietnamese. They speak not of simple imitation, but of profound indigenous development, a local genius that adapted, innovated, and created a powerful artistic tradition distinct from its neighbors. This compelling material evidence powerfully affirms that the roots of Vietnamese civilization are deep and locally grown, with significant technological and cultural achievements predating any extensive foreign influence. The Dong Son culture represents a culmination of thousands of years of indigenous development. Moreover, archaeological sites from this era, like those of the Phung Nguyen culture, flourishing roughly 2000–1500 BCE, the Dong Do culture, c. 1500 to 1000 BCE, and especially the Go Mun culture, c. 1000 to 700 BCE, all preceding and contributing to the development of the Dong Son culture, reveal a clear, gradual, and continuous progression of sophisticated agricultural societies. From these sites, we unearth compelling evidence of permanent settlements, increasingly advanced pottery, early forms of stone tools, and crucially, the earliest metal artifacts. These discoveries provide undeniable material grounding for the legendary accounts, demonstrating definitively that a complex, self-sufficient society flourished in the Red River Delta, independently developing its own unique technologies, social structures, and cultural practices during the period attributed to the Hùng Kings. The archaeological record thus provides the silent, tangible proof that underpins the later legendary narratives, painting a picture of an industrious and evolving people building the foundations of a nation. Chapter 4. The Enduring Cultural Legacy of Văn Lang. The Hùng Kings period and the Văn Lang kingdom, whether viewed through the lens of legend or archaeology, laid the foundational groundwork for many enduring cultural practices and defining characteristics that continue to shape Vietnam today. One of the most profound and persistent is ancestor worship. This practice, which deepened and became more codified during this proto-historic period as communities became more settled and the concept of lineage gained prominence, remains central to Vietnamese life. The veneration of ancestors connected the living to the dead, ensuring spiritual continuity, seeking guidance, and maintaining social harmony within families and communities. The Hùng Kings themselves, as the ultimate primordial ancestors of the entire nation, became the spiritual focal point of this reverence, solidifying their legitimacy and reinforcing the fundamental unity of the people. This tradition is not merely historical, it's a vibrant daily practice in millions of Vietnamese homes and temples, linking present generations directly to their ancient origins. Early Vietnamese society also held strong animistic beliefs. The natural world was deeply revered and believed to be imbued with powerful spirits of the majestic mountains, the life-giving rivers, the ancient trees, and the various animals. This profound respect for nature, evident in the myths we explored in our last episode like Sun Tin and Thuy Tin, deeply shaped their worldview, their agricultural practices, and their daily lives. These indigenous animistic beliefs would later blend seamlessly with influences from Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism, forming the rich, syncretic tapestry of Vietnamese folk religion that exists to this day. This deep connection to the land, viewed as sacred and animated, fostered a symbiotic relationship between the people and their environment. Beyond the spiritual realm, the era of the Hùng Kings and Văn Lang played a crucial role in the formation of a distinct Vietnamese character. The challenging environment of the Red River Delta, with its annual floods and the immense collective labor required to manage them and cultivate rice, forged a people characterized by extraordinary resilience, perseverance, and a powerful sense of community. These traits, born from the very necessities of survival and adaptation in ancient Văn Lang, would become defining characteristics of the Vietnamese people throughout their long and often arduous history of defending their land against both natural disasters and relentless foreign invaders. The ability to endure, to rebuild, and to cooperate for the common good became ingrained in the national consciousness. The annual Giot To Hung Vuong festival, which we highlighted earlier, stands as the most powerful and visibly moving manifestation of this enduring legacy. It is far more than a single event. It is a profound national pilgrimage, a sacred time for all Vietnamese, regardless of their background or beliefs, to collectively reconnect with their shared heritage and to reaffirm their identity as descendants of the dragon and the immortal. It serves as a vital reminder that beneath the layers of recorded history, beneath the profound influence of foreign cultures, lies an ancient indigenous core that has persistently survived, adapted, and thrived. It is a testament to how history can be a living, breathing force, shaping identity and cohesion in the present day. Conclusion: the foundation of a nation and looking ahead. Our comprehensive journey through the Hùng Kings and the Văn Lang kingdom reveals a fascinating, complex, and utterly critical period in Vietnam's story. It's a period where the grand foundational myths we explored in Episode 1 begin to coalesce and transform into a more structured societal form, giving rise to the very first outlines of a Vietnamese state. While the precise historical details may remain hazy due to the passage of millennia and the nature of ancient record-keeping, the profound significance of this era is undeniable. This was the crucible where the distinct identity of the Vietnamese people, the Lac Viet, was forged. We've explored how a complex society emerged in the challenging yet immensely fertile Red River Delta, mastering sophisticated wet rice cultivation techniques, developing rudimentary yet effective forms of governance, and creating a unique and vibrant cultural footprint. We've also come to understand the crucial interplay between historical fact, as revealed by archaeology, and cultural truth, as embodied in cherished legends. We recognize that for Vietnam, the Hùng Kings are more than just figures from a distant past. They represent a sacred narrative of origin that continues to define their nationhood and inspire their people. They stand as a powerful testament to the idea that a nation's identity can be profoundly shaped and sustained by its foundational narratives, whether or not every detail can be empirically verified. This episode thus closes the chapter on Vietnam's legendary and proto-historic beginnings, setting the stage for a deeper, more detailed dive into the tangible evidence of its early statehood. The world of Văn Lang, born from the legends of dragons and immortals, was far from a static entity. It was a dynamic, evolving society, continuously developing and innovating, laying the absolutely essential groundwork for everything that was to come. In our next episode, the narrative moves from the theoretical and legendary to the concrete and magnificent. We will truly unearth the astonishing achievements of the Dong Son culture. We'll delve deep into the magnificent bronze artifacts, particularly the iconic and deeply symbolic bronze drums that tell a vivid story, artistry, and societal complexity. These archaeological finds provide irrefutable material proof of a highly advanced and uniquely Vietnamese civilization flourishing in the very region traditionally attributed to the Hùng Kings. We'll see how the echoes of Văn Lang resonate through this magnificent material culture, challenging any notion that early Vietnamese civilization was merely a derivative of its neighbors, and instead celebrating a vibrant indigenous development. Join us next time on History Holes as we explore the Bronze Age foundations of Vietnam, peeling back the layers of earth to reveal the sophisticated ingenuity and enduring spirit of an ancient people. I thank you very much for joining us on this journey. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want more. If you feel like it, tell us what else you'd like to hear. See you on the next episode.